Well, tonight's World Series game may be in jeopardy thanks to a little patch of rain that is sitting right along I-95 in and around the Philadelphia area. We'll take a look at that radar. And of course, overall, it's a warm and generally dry pattern for the next week or so, with the exception of tonight, of course. And in the west, it's cold and wet, and we have Tropical Storm Lisa. All of that and so much more. Your head will spin tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show, which is brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York, in southwest Suffolk County on Long Island, serving the entire New York, New Jersey, Connecticut tri-state area. And remember, as warm as it is, and as warm as it will probably be this weekend, remember that winter will probably come on a flip of a switch at some point, and you may need rock salt or all the other things that help you get rid of snow and ice. Plus, of course, you could still use the warm weather to fix up your yard. And then we have that. Batteries, flashlights, generators, you name it, they have it at Omni True Value Hardware. And the telephone number is 631-756. Hold on. There it is. 1125. And the website is
OmniTrueValue.com.
And welcome. Oh, where'd you go? Where'd we all go? Hold on a second, folks. I'm kind of tired tonight. I don't know about you, Joe, but I am beat. There you go. There you are. Here I am, and welcome to a rather sloppy beginning tonight on this Halloween Joe and Joe Weather Show.
Am I supposed to say something?
I pause, you talk. You pause,
Oh, okay.
I talk.
Okay, well, it's another Monday night. I forgot. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on one moment. Down here?
When you turn...
No, I left them upstairs, so forget about it. Well, better luck next year. All right. Okay. So, yeah, we've got a little wet weather tonight and basically a rather tranquil week ahead.
And that's all there is tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show, correct?
I guess so. Thanks a lot, folks. We'll see you next week. No.
Yeah. All right. So why don't you pull up the Fort Dix radar so you can show everybody what's going on in and around Philadelphia?
Well, the only people who are interested in the World Series are the people from Philadelphia and the people who are from Houston. Okay. I'm not interested. Are you interested?
So, yes, and I understand, but we do have a audience from Pennsylvania that watches, particularly in Southeast Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Now that you've, kind of isolated them.
Well, I'm a Met fan, so I don't like Philadelphia. I don't like the Phillies.
Well, do this.
Neither does Keith Hernandez, I might point out. All right, so I'll call up the Fort Dix radar as soon as I can find it.
While you look for that, I will just say good evening to all our folks tonight on the chat board, and welcome to those of you who are watching the Joe and Joe Weather Show. If you're new, we always love when people participate in the conversation, and you can do that on the chat board by subscribing to my YouTube channel with your Gmail account, and make sure your notifications are turned on so that whenever the Joe and Joe Weather Show graces the air, which is usually Monday through Thursday at 7:35, some days at 11 a.m., Fridays and Saturdays we usually take off unless there's a storm around, but you won't miss it. You'll get a notification, and voila, you join us. So on that note, big hello to Tom Contino's back on the on the chat board. I guess he's back on a regular shift. No, I didn't get any trick-or-treaters. I live in the top of a mountain, okay? So you have to you have to struggle to get to me. Unless you can drive and find your way down the dirt road and and get through the woods and the bear and the other wildlife. I don't have to worry about them coming to my door. So there. Anyhow, yeah. Overall pattern, Joe. It looks like at least for the next week, we're just going to have to deal with the fact that at least in the eastern part of the U.S., the eastern half of the U.S. is going to be mostly on the quiet side, with the exception of tonight with some of these showers that are around. Uh, this kind of reminds me, didn't this happen with the Yankees and Astros on one of the games where the stick of rain just basically sat over Yankee Stadium and the immediate vicinity and wound up canceling and postponing the game till the next night?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Well, it's kind of the
That's
same,
absolutely true.
and that's kind of the same thing that's happening in
Hey,
Philadelphia
look,
tonight.
this is what baseball wants, Joe. I mean, if baseball doesn't mind having the great summer pastime extend into November, and I'm sure that in 20 or 25 years we'll be seeing the World Series being played at the beginning of December. If this is how they want it, then this is how they're going to get it. I mean, this is what you have to expect at this time of the. Unsettled weather becomes more and more a probability as we move on into, and also they insist, they being the people who are running baseball, they insist that not a single game, not one, is played during the daytime. I mean, all right, you have to have your nighttime baseball, have it during the weekend prime time, but for goodness sake, if you're going to have a game on the weekend, play it in the afternoon when the sun is out. We had a beautiful day here on Saturday, and I'm saying to myself, this would be a great day to have a postseason baseball game. If not here in New York, then hopefully the same kind of weather in places like Philadelphia or you. But they insist. They insist upon forcing the issue and allowing games to be played. This late in the season into a time frame when it's unsettled. If you allow me to share the screen, we'll show you the wonderful radar and why it's going to be a while before we're going to see baseball being played in Philadelphia tonight.
Go for it. Knock yourself out.
I wish I could.
Oh, I don't know why did that happen again? Hang on a second. All right, just give me a second here to fix this. Um, Hold on. The heck? Just a second, Joe. I've kind of got you full screen. Okay, there you go. You finally responded to the escape key. Now you're on there. Okay, let me get out of the way. Hang on. I'm out of the way now. So go ahead. It's all yours.
Well, basically, you could see what we're talking about. We've got, while it's not so bad precipitation wise in the immediate New York area, there were a few drops at my house around 5 o'clock today. It's not all that bad on Long Island and extreme northern New Jersey and the Hudson Valley, but where they're having a very important baseball game, game 3 of the World Series, you could see that they're right underneath the blob of, I mean, not in especially intense rain. The problem is that the rain is coming from southwest to northeast, and it looks like that it's going to be over the Philadelphia area for a while. And I can't really tell you. I'm just looking at this radar when we might get a break. It might be in about a half an hour or an hour or maybe 2 hours or whatever. But tonight's game in Philadelphia is being held up because of, again, precipitation. And that'll be in the form of periods of light rain and showers. And we'll just have to wait it out, I guess.
And that we shall. Super chat hits tonight from the chairman, Scott Briller. Thank you, Scott, and happy Halloween. And he did not give away any Skittles because they didn't make the top 10 list that we went through with Mrs. Rayo last night. And also, Steve Lapointe hitting a super chat tonight. Happy Halloween to you, sir. And hope everybody got a little candy. I had a Butterfingered right before the show, a very small one.
Now,
Because I went to the
Joe,
what?
I hate to interrupt here.
Yes.
I'm looking at the MLB site, and it says Game 3 series tied 1-1. Astros and Phillies, or Astros at Philly, tomorrow, 8:03 p.m. Was this game canceled?
If they cancel it, well, No, they didn't. Well, if they canceled it, then they've already rescheduled it. They just haven't. I haven't seen anything.
I see here tomorrow, Game 3 tomorrow, 8:03 p.m. Game 4, series tied 1-1. Game 4 will be Wednesday, November 2nd, 8:03 p.m. I think tonight's game may have been already canceled.
Well,
I may be. Somebody out there, correct me, please, if I'm wrong. I'm confused.
let's just see. Hold on. I'll see.
David Scott says game postponed. Okay.
Okay, yes. Game postponed. I got it too. All right, well, so
There
much.
you go.
So they collected their parking lot fees. They're not giving that money
Yes.
back. And unless the Mets are the only one that does that, or do they all do it now?
I'm sure they all do it. They all, get together and they say, and I'd like to know what the amount of tariff is for a parking space at the ballpark down in Philadelphia. Probably it's the same as up here, $50. So
Yeah, that's crazy. That's just $50 to park a car. My God, that's just that's
they
insane. That just
they
is
grab as
insane.
much as they grab as much as they can get out of you. I love these ball players. I mean, for example, the Mets
Hold on,
have.
hold on. Why don't you come off the radar then and come back full screen?
Oh, why not? Why not? Why not? All right.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now you were saying.
I mean, the Mets have, for example, a few players that are making, many multi-millions of dollars. By the way, did you buy your Powerball ticket? I have not bought a single ticket, and presumably tonight the Powerball is up to $1 billion with a B dollars.
Well, you're starting to get to a point where you're beginning to talk about real money.
Yeah.
I saw
Supposedly,
I saw a friend of mine on Facebook posted something to the effect of that tonight's Powerball jackpot is $1 billion. And I was touched inappropriately by the winner 30 years ago. So he's already, just already thinking lawsuit. Anyway, go on.
400, and if you take it all in one lump, I presume you get $487 million and the government gets the rest. But if you take it over a period of the next 30 years, it comes out to be something like 30 million or $33 million a year for you. You can get the whole 1 billion, but it will take 30 years to get it.
Yeah, it's an annuity.
So, yes.
It's an annuity. Basically, it's an annuity. It's a nice annuity. I know somebody that I worked with someone whose parents won like hit for $28 million or something, and they get a nice each family member gets a nice check every year, which is I guess a good way to handle it. David Fuller hitting super chat tonight says, any chance for thunderstorms tonight? I'm slowly getting better with the knee, thank God. That's good to hear. I don't think we're going to see anything convective tonight. That just doesn't. This whole thing doesn't really, doesn't wow me. Did it wow you?
No, it didn't. It just, there was a few showers. That's it. And unfortunately for the folks who wanted to watch a World Series baseball game tonight, most of the precip concentrated in that one area right over the southeast part of Pennsylvania, and that's why we're not watching baseball tonight. But other than that, a few scattered showers should be better hopefully tomorrow and for the rest of this week.
Yeah, I think they may have just looked at the radar, which has got stuff all the way back down through Maryland and northeastern Virginia, just pretty much moving right up along I-95. It doesn't look like it's going to get out of the way anytime soon. So they might as well, unless they want to start the game at midnight or 1 a.m., which is not. I'm sure they don't want to do that. And those showers will probably move over Long Island, northern New Jersey, then eventually into southernmost Connecticut, Rhode Island. I don't know how much is going to happen further north than that, though. There's some scattered stuff on the radar in upstate New York and in northern Vermont. As you said, you had a couple of raindrops earlier. Also, some scattered showers tonight back through parts of Indiana and Ohio. A little bit more convective in central North Carolina. There might be a thunderstorm or two embedded in that little line there that's formed heading for Raleigh Durham, but the rest of the southeast is fine. Most of Florida is fine, except for some stuff somewhere around West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, and on the west coast, somewhere south and south and east of Fort Myers. Little bit of shower activity in parts of South Texas and also in Southwest Texas. We've got some precip aloft coming into Southern California. It doesn't look like any of that's reaching the ground, but up to the north in the Pacific Northwest, we've got rain coming in at the coast and probably a mix of rain and snow in areas inland. The satellite view is, well, I mean, there's a couple of things here, Joe. You have this low that's well east of the Virginia coast. You've got this tropical storm Lisa down in the Caribbean, and those two systems are actually reinforcing the ridge that's in the eastern part of the United States. So this system that came out of the southern plains, which Saturday anyway was producing a fair amount of rain in the southern plains, has just fallen apart. It's basically weak stuff, that strands of leftover moisture that are just running up to the northeast. That there's one good kink. You see a little bit of enhancement there that's right over Delaware, Maryland, Northeast Virginia, now over Southeast PA, and then moving toward northern New Jersey and New York City. That's really it.
And but unfortunately, again, because of the movement of the precipitation from southwest to northeast, and then stretching all the way down again back to Maryland, if it continues moving along that line, then there isn't going to be much change in the overall pattern, at least for the overnight hours tonight. I'm interested in watching Lisa, and Lisa is going to be a storm that eventually is going to track on a course into Central America. Do you think it'll still have enough oomph to make it all the way across and continue or maintain itself or maintain an identity when it goes into the Pacific Ocean? Or
I think we're at that time of year going into November. There's probably a lot of shear going on down there. I'm going to say that it'll just fall apart. It's actually going to go, unlike, Julia went across and really didn't do anything. We had the one earlier in the year that was it Bonnie that went out and became a hurricane?
I think it was Bonnie.
Yeah. This one's coming in Belize, and if it moves straight west, in fact, I can let's get the Caribbean satellite. We might as well do it now since you brought the subject up. Let's get this. We'll get the Caribbean or Caribbean, and take a look at it. The convection's been kind of increasing a bit this afternoon and evening. Just looking at the satellite, I'll put in a few extra frames here, and there you go. Come on. Well, while that's loading, how about I just bring up? So this is the latest from the hurricane, the track model guidance. It very, very tightly clustered, goes inland in Belize and then into Mexico. Then they start to diverge a little bit, but one model, Joe, takes it out into the open waters of the Pacific on a southwest course. One model takes it into the open waters of the Bay of Campeche on a northwest coast, and all the others just leave it inland, and it'll just fall apart if that's the case. So I'm going to
absolutely.
I don't think this is really going to do anything coming out of the other side. The center is so far south; it's still down there around 15 degrees north. But we have seen a marked increase in convection. And let's look at the advisory here from Lisa. Forecast to strengthen. Top winds 45 miles an hour, 15.5, 78.9, moving west at 14. This is what it looks like in terms of the Hurricane Center's forecast, which is they actually have hurricane. They did put up a hurricane watch for the coast of Belize. They've got tropical storm watches up for Honduras, also for a small portion of southeastern part of the Yucatan Peninsula. No warnings up as of yet. and also tropical storm watch that's up for Jamaica. That's going to be coming down before too long. And you see the track here. Makes it a minimal hurricane right before landfall, and then weakens it to a tropical depression. We should note, by the way, because I was kind of looking at the thing, the system that's on the edge of the satellite here in the upper right, the old ocean low. I noticed that there was a lot of convection that was developing there today. The Hurricane Center wasn't saying anything about it anymore. Now they've said something about it today. They're back to 10% chance that this could become a subtropical or tropical system. But they say a non-tropical area of low pressure 300 miles northeast of Bermuda. Satellite wind data indicate that the low, while it is still attached to a frontal boundary, also has a small core with gale force winds and a concentrated area of showers and thunderstorms near the center. The system has a small window for some additional subtropical or tropical development before it is forecast to be absorbed by a larger extratropical system in about 2 to 3 days. Okay, I guess. I don't know. I was kind of looking at it at the satellite today. I thought maybe this thing may try and develop at the last minute, but they say no, and I'll just assume that they know better than I do, which they do. I mean, let me make it clear. They do know a bit more than I do.
It's their job, Joe.
I know, but Joe, once upon a time there were times where they would ignore this sort of stuff, and then all of a sudden at the last minute it was like, wow, we have the first advisory would come out and it would be either a 70-mile-an-hour tropical storm or even on occasion it would be a hurricane. It's like, and you look at it's like, where did that come from?
By the way, the next storm on the list after Lisa is Martin.
Martin.
And that'll be followed by Nicole.
Okay, well, we'll see if we get there. The GFS says we may, but we'll see. In the meantime, just checking out WPC with the latest precipitation forecast that they have, and it's a very subdued forecast. This is for tonight. They kind of upped it a little bit for the overnight into tomorrow morning with about a quarter of an inch being indicated up to about New York City and the South Shore of Long Island, some stripes of a half an inch in the Delmarva Peninsula and also into central North Carolina, but then just start to go north, especially if you go north of 84, and we're talking about less than a tenth. And then day 2, nothing. It's all in the west. Day 3, nothing. It's all in the Rockies, or on the west side of the Rockies anyway. Day 4, precip in the plains, but in the east, nothing. Day 5, nothing. Day 6, nothing. Day 7 is next Sunday night into next Monday night, and they do have some precip there showing up. So after tonight, Joe, I think we're good at least through the daytime on Sunday.
It looks like it. It looks like a long stretch of dry weather, nice weather. So hopefully all of you will get a chance to do whatever you have to do. If you're still raking leaves or mulching them or whatever, the weather will be perfect for doing that over the course of the next 4 or 5 days, at least here in the immediate tri-state New York City area.
I thought maybe Saturday and Sunday we could see mid to upper 70s.
In the New York area?
Yeah.
Really?
What's going to stop it if we get into a southwest or a west wind, especially on Sunday?
Well, there you go. Well, if it does get that warm, I hope all of you enjoy it. No telling if that is a sign that we're going to have a warm winter or whether or not we'll have less snow in the winter. I've been saying all along that we've been moving into a pattern opposite to what we were at last year. It's the third consecutive La Nina winter. Last December, if you remember, Joe, very warm across much of the nation, and even severe weather breaking out in portions of the Ohio and Tennessee River Valley around the 8th, the 9th, the 10th of December. Well, whether or not we see something like that, I frankly don't think so. I think we might see something a bit different. But if it does make it into the 70s on Saturday, a Saturday, the first Saturday in November. Enjoy. You know what else Saturday is, right? It's a day. It's a day that you and I have been looking forward to for a long time.
Well, Saturday's Breeders' Cup, but I don't think that's the answer you're looking for.
Well,
What's
Saturday night we do something to the clocks. We turn them back,
Oh,
and I'm
yes.
looking forward to that. So that's something we should have done already in September. But in any case, back to standard time we go, late Saturday night or first thing on Sunday
Well,
morning.
that'll take my sunrise now, which is now around 8, pretty much close to 8 o'clock, back to 7 o'clock. And it'll take my sunset, which is now around 6:45, 7 o'clock, somewhere in there, to like 5:45, 6 o'clock. I could live with that. Rainfall amounts over the next 7 days, by the way, fairly robust up and down the upper and middle Mississippi Valley, and then back over to the southern plains. Actually, some big precip amounts being indicated of several inches from central Oklahoma, the eastern half of Kansas, into southwestern Iowa. Also, the Pacific Northwest down into northern and central California. Quite a bit of precip there, several to many inches up in east-western Washington, western Oregon, northwestern California, and also some big precip amounts being indicated up in Idaho, in the northern Rockies. This could mean a substantial snowfall because of the way the trough is set up. It's out in the west. If we're going to be very warm here in the east, you look for it to be very cool or cold, downright cold, and certainly cold enough for snow in the west. Now, we're early in the game here, so the probability of at least 2 inches is showing up as soon as the map reposts it. Come on. Loading, loading, loading. Come on. Why is it not coming up? That's weird. Let me refresh again. See what happens. All right, there it is. So we'll go that. Boy, I made it disappear again. That's odd. Okay, now it's starting to. I'll settle for 80%. But there it is. This is the probability of at least 2. And anything in blue is 50% or higher. Anything in you start to get into those reds, and you're talking about 90-95% probability of at least 2. You can see it covers a very wide area, including all the way down to Sierra Nevadas and California, good portion of the state of Utah, good portion of the state of Wyoming, western Colorado, and the probability of at least 4. Are we going to get to see 4? Or is the Weather Service website having an issue? I guess the Weather Service website's having an issue. Well, you get the idea. There's going to be several systems coming into the west that are going to produce all of this stuff. And by the way, I've got this loop here, Joe. I got this off the GFS today. This is over the next 7 days of snowfall. It's not snow cover. It's just total snowfall over the next 7 days. And you could see where the deep trough is. The deep trough is in the western part of the U.S. It's all western Canada, the western half of Canada, the western part of the United States, pretty much from the Rockies west, all getting a fairly solid dose of snowfall, but not much to show for it in the next 7 days in southeastern Canada, or for that matter, even northeastern Canada, just a little bit there. And of course, the Great Lakes in the northeast and Ohio Valley. There's nothing here. Obviously, with the warm ridge in the east, you're not going to see any snowfall at this time of year.
But do you think that that's going to hold for the entire winter?
No.
Me thinks that's not going to happen.
No. I've been saying. I've been sticking and continue to stick with the idea that right around the 9th or 10th of November, we're going to see a pattern. We're going to see this change. This is a temporary. I think what you saw from the 22nd, roughly the 22nd of September, to the first 3 weeks in October is the primary pattern for the fall. And now we've gotten into this warmer pattern obviously. I think this is the temporary one, and I think we're going to switch back to something colder. I don't know how much colder, but I think it's going to be a colder pattern starting around the 10th or so. So the middle part of next week and beyond, it will be different, in my opinion.
In your humble opinion.
It's always my humble opinion. It's my never to
Yes.
be humble opinion. So if we look at the yes, exactly. So if we look at the upper air on the GFS on the latest run and even on the prior run, but I got the 18Z up here. But you can see again, one of the principal issues here, Joe, is the fact that the GFS seems to be very active with in the tropics, in the Caribbean, even in the Southwest Atlantic, and that just enhances the ridge in the eastern part of the United States. And I certainly right now that is the case with Lisa, for example. But remember that was the where the GFS was making continuously making a Category 4, Category 5 hurricane going toward Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic, and obviously that never happened. But our ridge is going to hold, and the reason why I'm going very warm for Saturday and Sunday. Look at the big closed upper high right along the East Coast. That we're gonna wind up going from a light onshore flow, say Thursday into Friday, uh, to more of a southwest or even a west wind on Sunday. And so I don't see why it's what's going to stop it from warming up unless there's a ton of clouds that come in. There's the trough in the west. Just sits there through early next week. Then the high starts to move out. And you start to see the beginnings of change in the west. There's also, by the way, on the last couple of runs, Joe, trying to show something tropical developing uh, east of the Bahamas and moving westward toward Florida. That seems to be another common thread here in a longer range for next week. We'll see if that's real. And then ultimately, the trough does shift into the eastern part of the United States. It takes a while to get there, and it's not very amplified. Now this was the 12Z run. I should correct myself here. This was the 12Z run. The 18Z run today is, since it supports my case, I'm going to use the 18Z. But the 18Z run has the trough coming back into the eastern part of the United States. You see it here, and it's not too shabby looking a trough either. This is by November 12th, November 13th, and then more troughing eventually swinging into the east to the end of the forecast period. So I'm still pretty confident that around the 10th or so we're going to see a change.
And I don't want to say I know you're saying mid to upper 70s. I could see here in the Hudson Valley 60s to around 70. I'm just not certain that we could see temperatures, in the mid to upper. Mid to upper would be like all-time high temperatures for the early part of November. But, well, we'll see. We'll see. One thing is for sure, we're not going to be seeing a return to any of the really cold stuff for a while. And it may very well be, like we had for a few days last week, I'm going to have noise outside of my bedroom window. It's going to sound again like late August instead of early November with all of the, whatever katydids, whatever crickets are still out there enjoying a spell of unseasonable warmth in the early part of November.
Yep. So we'll run this run of the GFS here. These showers move out. Then it's, except for what's going on in the west, there really isn't too much to speak of here. The biggest question will be the wind direction, because that'll help determine temperatures, especially for Saturday and Sunday when the isobars try to bend more southwesterly, particularly next Sunday. Saturday might be a little tricky, but particularly next Sunday. Then there's some kind of weak system that just falls apart, goes by to our north, sort of a backdoorish type front that makes it or doesn't make it. And then you can see that the GFS in the last couple of runs tries to take something out of the Caribbean, east of the Bahamas, and makes a bit of a tropical storm there, and starts to ride the moisture. On this run, it kept it offshore. The prior run brought all the rain up the coast with the next cold front. But this particular run was a lot drier. But then it's got the colder highs coming down from the north toward the end of the forecast period. And yeah, there's blue snow into the Great Lakes and western New York. It's there on this run. and in a bigger way when it gets up into New England around November 13th. So mark your calendars down. Just kidding. And then another stronger front after that with a bigger shot of colder air. So let's look for the models to try to key in on that time frame, which is the middle part of next week, to begin a changing process, and we'll take it from there. So very nice, very nice.
Huh?
Ah, oh, James H hitting super chat tonight. He says, wouldn't that be considered an Indian summer type pattern since most areas already had their first frost and some freezes? Yeah, we could say it's that. We certainly could say it's that. You can see how.
Did we mention that Leon Probitsky, Paul Roman, and who else was just on the chat board who hit super chats as well? James H. Wouldn't that be? Yeah, well, you just mentioned that, Joe. So
okay, hold on. I have to unhide. Where'd Steve LaPointe go?
And Steve, and you said something about Steve being hidden. No. Oh, he's there again? Okay.
Oh, he was unhidden. Something about Paul Roman's cat hid Steve LaPointe. The cat was sticking. Okay. The cat did it, and you're sticking to that story. Very good. All right.
Say to Seeker White, you win $100.
Yes. No. So you've got Briller Jeopardy tonight.
Yes, I do.
Oh, by the way, Daniel Fitzsimmons. Before you do that, Dan, you emailed me, and I answered you yesterday. I forgot to get back to you this afternoon. So Dan's been looking for a bunch. He's been trying to find different climate sites other than Weather Underground and whatever's on the local weather service page. Joe, can you recommend any? Do you have any links?
What exactly again? Or is he looking for now?
Climate stuff, climate data.
I don't know. I'd have to think about it off the top of my head. I might have been able to answer that question off the top of my head a year or two ago, but things are more difficult now. But I can do some homework and maybe come up with something tomorrow.
All right, Daniel, you heard it. You heard him. So when you find some stuff, Joe, just email it to me, and then I'll email it to Dan. Okay?
Okay.
All right, Dan.
So continuing our theme for this week for Briller Jeopardy, category for the following 10 cities. What? Oh, wait a minute. Did we do this already? Yeah, I think we did already. So, okay. So I got, the message I got from Scott. Hi, Joe and Renata. Nice job. So you still have part 2 of the Briller Jeopardy of the first inch of snow from last week.
Oh, so you only did 5?
I only did 5. Okay, yeah. So I see now. I see the other 7. The other 5.
The other. The other 7. Well, I sent you 10. The reason why I say we did 5, we've got 7 left.
I said 7 because when I flicked over to that, the first thing that hit my mind was city number 7, which was International Falls. We'll get to that in a moment.
All right.
But for the first inch, for the following 5 cities, what is the date that they average their first inch of snow? And the first one on tonight's list is Fargo. Fargo,
North Dakota. Okay, so as far as Fargo, North Dakota. All right, so the first date, I'm going to say October. For the first inch, I'm going to say October 17th. October 17th is what I said. Chuck Cardillo just said November 1st. Anthony says October 10th. Chris Alley says hi to Izzy D. Debbie Carroll says October 27th. John Sachs 77 says October 21st. I'm assuming, by the way, that no one's gotten the right answer yet.
No, but we did have somebody come very close.
William Uber, October 15th. Chris Alley, October 15th. Johnny Quest says October 12th. Christina Pedia says November 5th. Howard Hassel says October 10th. November 8th for Mark DeCara. David Fuller, October 5th. Leon Probitsky, October 4th. And Johnny Quest, October 12th. James Volpe, October 7th. So on that one, Joe, what is the correct date?
Chuck Cardillo came the closest when he said November the 1st, because for Fargo, believe it or not, a lot of folks said October, but the first inch usually is November the 2nd.
Oh, okay. Surprise, surprise. All right, next one.
Next is number 7, as I mentioned before, International Falls up in Minnesota.
International Falls. So I'm going to say October the 15th for International Falls. And
yes.
Let's see. No, Izzy, it's the first inch. Bobby Livingsworth says October 21st. Christina Petey, October 31st. Daniel Fitzsimmons says September 30th. See the Whole Truth says he has no idea. Mark DeCara, November 10th. James Volpe says, wow. Johnny Quest, October 20th. David Fuller, October 14th. Johnny Sachs, October 19th. Izzy D, October 26th. Steve LaPointe, October 12th. Debbie Carroll, October 26th. James Volpe, November 11th. The answer is?
My son's birthday, October 18th.
Oh, okay.
For International Falls. So
I was close.
Yeah. Well, not bad.
Next.
Frantic City.
Atlantic City for the
Atlantic City.
I'm going to say for Atlantic City, December. Well, there was some controversy over the New York City one, so I'm going to say December 23rd.
Ooh.
I guess I'm close.
Yes, indeed, you were.
December 15th from Christina Pedia, December 14th from Debbie Carroll, December 19th from Chuck Gardillo, Steve LaPointe, December 28th, David Simmons, December 19th, David Fuller, December 16th, Johnny Quest, December 28th, Chris Alley, the 28th, November 15th for Mark DeCara, December 12th for Leon Probitsky, James Volpe, January 5th, Mark DeCara, December 15th, December 27th from Leon Probitsky. Howard Hassel, December 24th. Anthony, December 18th. Joe, the answer is?
What sometimes in some years is the first day of winter, December 21st, when it's not December 22nd, but December 21st for Atlantic City. Now.
Next.
Syracuse.
Syracuse. Tricky. Well, they haven't gotten their first inch yet, so that didn't happen. So I'm going to say November 2nd. November 2nd. November 15th for Bobby Livingsworth. December 5th for Steve LaPointe, unless he's still on Atlantic City. November 30th for Debbie Carroll when you move her to November 5th. Chris Alley, November 10th. Leon Probitsky, October 27th. Izzy D, November 5th. Johnny Quest, November 12th. David Seismic Coy Wolf, November 19th. Mark DeCara, November 6th. Howard Hassel, the 21st. Volpe, the 14th. Chairman has no clue. And Dennis Cassia says November 11th. Joe, what is the winning number?
Two people on the chat board actually got it right on the nose. William Huber and Izzy D, November the 5th.
November the 5th. And and the last one for the night?
The last one is where we were hoping to see a baseball game tonight. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And I'll tell you, if they keep putting off the World Series and keep pushing it deeper and deeper into November and beyond, this one day may actually be a date that you'll get a snow out from.
All right, so for Philadelphia, I'll say December 15th. David Fuller says December 26th. Johnny Sachs says December 30th. Bobby Livingworth, December 3rd. David Seismic Coywolf, November 29th. Chuck Cardillo, November 30th. Anthony, December 18th. Izzy D, December 18th. Chris Alley, December 22nd. Debbie Carroll, December 10th. Johnny Quest, December 10th. Steve LaPointe, December 29th. Howard Hassel, December 2nd. Leon Probitsky, December 18th. Mark DeCara, December 5th. Dennis Cassia, December 11th. James Davison, December 17th. And Michael McGuire says December 1st. And the answer is?
And Leon Probitsky came the closest this time around. He had December 18th, but the date in question, December 17th.
What did I say?
I think you said December 15th.
15th. Okay, well, I was only a couple off. All right.
Yeah.
So let's call it a night. It's a Monday night. I'm kind of tired today anyway. So what time are we doing the show tomorrow?
We would have to do it at 8:30 because I have a library talk tomorrow at 7 o'clock.
All right. Where is your library talk? You might as well do a shameless self-promotion.
Oh, where is it? I've got a number of them coming up. Mamaroneck, Chappaqua, and New Rochelle. 3 libraries are going to team up to hear me tomorrow night at 7 p.m. I'll put it on my Facebook page tomorrow, so if you're interested and you might want to register for that, please do.
And on that note, we're going to say goodnight. Don't forget to look for Daniel's Climo sites, Joe, and email them to me if you find any, and I will forward it to them. Everybody have a great night. We will see you tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern Time, probably for a shorter show. Considering there's not a whole lot happening, and Joe's got the library talks, maybe we'll just keep it down to about a half an hour the next couple of nights. So we'll see you tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern Time. 99 ever. And thanks to everybody for the super chat hits. Paul Roman, James H. I lost the list here. Leon Probitsky, David Fuller, the chairman Scott Briller, and Steve LaPointe. I think I got everybody. Did I get everybody? I hope so.
Leon and Paul and Steve. Oh no, Steve. Oh no, that has nothing to do with it. Steve Hyde, or Hiding Steve.
Yes. All right. 8:30 tomorrow, folks. So we'll see you tomorrow. Nighty night.
Bye.